Hello, it's Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends Blogspot. Today is Sunday. Actually, it's Saturday. What am I talking about? It's Saturday, the 14th of July, 2007. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at some stocks for trading where I think there's a big short position and potential for a short squeeze. If you're not familiar with what a short squeeze is and that sort of thing, I wrote an article for SFO magazine a couple years ago that's on the side of my blog under popular posts. So go ahead and read that. But let's take a look at these stocks first. I've got shares of ASYS Technology, symbol ASYT. First thing I want you to see is the stock looks like it's ready to break out here. We've seen the increasing volume over here on this recent probe of the resistance that's been in place near that 7.5 level for the last 6 or so months. And when we back it up to a weekly time frame, you can see that that level is fairly significant, that getting above there, if there's short sellers in there, that they might be motivated to cover their position for losses. So let's take a look at the short position. Here's the short position. As of June 15th, there were 3.1 million shares that had been sold short and not covered. As of December 15th, it was 1.3. So when we go back to the chart, you can see back in December it was 1.3 million, and now it's 3.1 million. So they've added 1.8 million shares. So we know for a fact that if the stock gets above that $7.5 level, that those people who sold short below that level are in a losing position. The way you cover your losses in a short sale is to buy the stock back. A lot of times they can get moving significantly higher. I want to add as well that we are in earnings season, so that could be a potential catalyst for these stocks. I haven't checked the dates. Maybe somebody wants to do that and post that in the comments section of when these companies are due to report, maybe recent revision, that sort of thing. You can do a lot of work to find whether you think it's going to move or not. So if we have earnings due on a stock like this, one way you might want to get involved would be to use call options, anticipating the breakout. That way, if you're wrong and the shorts do get it right, because they're not always wrong, you're not going to be getting caught blindsided and have the stock gap down a couple dollars. If it does gap down a couple dollars, all you lose is your premium in the options, versus if you buy the stock, you might be out a couple dollars. So ASYT is the first one that I think looks good. It's got, again, 3.1 million shares based on the average daily volume of the last 30 days. That would take them 10.8 days to cover that bearish bet. Next stock I want to look at is CBeyond Communications, CBEY. You can see this has been in a very nice uptrend, and on a daily time frame, it's kind of consolidating in here. It might need to get above this level really to get going, above 40 and a half or so, but it's made these higher lows in here. We've got the 10 back above the 20-day moving average. Maybe this is going to make a little cup and handle here and then break out. I don't want to guess that sort of thing, but we'll see. The short sellers, though, we do have a fairly significant position. I think 3.2 million shares. Average daily volume is 434,000 and 7.5 days to take. It would take to cover that. So 3.2 million shares, you can't imagine many of them are in a money-making position. So again, check earnings. Maybe those are due, and maybe that's going to crush the stock. I don't know. But it's in an uptrend, so innocent till proven guilty, and news and surprises tend to follow the direction of the trend. COCO is the symbol for Corinthian Colleges. This stock had been a huge winner back in 2002, 2003, then fell into some trouble in here, but it's made a nice longer base. You can see just here on this monthly time frame the significance of the recent breakout past about that $15 level, and on the weekly time frame we can see that a little bit more clearly if I could draw my line straight. But that resistance did act as support in here. And now in the daily time frame, it looks like it's consolidating on light volume in here once again. So if you look at this stock as far as the short position, COCO, we put that up here on this NASDAQ service they provide, 11.8 million shares. About a million shares a day is what it typically trades. That would take a 12.73 days rather to cover. So a lot of shorts in here, as far as the overall number, 11 million of them. And it looks like they're starting to feel some pain. So nice consolidation. I'm not going to give specific buy prices, but I think that probably on this one above this 1635 level or so. By the way, if you're interested in more specifics about the way that I trade and that sort of thing, next Tuesday, July 17th at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm going to be hosting a free live online class. It's hosted by actually Terra Nova Trading, and the way to get there is through marketwise.com. and marketwise.com is where I teach the class. So I'll be giving a preview of what that class is, but it's also going to be an educational session where it's a live conference as well. So if you're interested, 11 o'clock on Tuesday, and feel free to join in. Go to marketwise.com for details on how to get registered. But Cocoa looks good to me. EMKR, now the solar stocks have been real strong, and EMKR is involved in the solar group. If you look at this weekly time frame, you can see that it's just recently made it past some resistance at the 6 level, and could get heading up towards maybe about $8 a share. Now it's a little extended in here. The company in here said that they were due to report have profits in 2008, but the stock sold off. Quickly recovered though. So I just think there's probably some pretty decent support pretty close by. So this stock looks fairly low risk as far as a new purchase, even though it looks extended on the daily time frame. If you look at the daily or the short interest on EMKR, you can see here 7.5 million shares have been sold short and not covered as of June 15th. And that would take them 15 days to cover based on average volume for the last month. Another thing about this short interest chart, it's only updated by the NASDAQ only once a month. A lot of people look at this and go, that's stale data. It's not stale data. That's as fresh as it gets. What the NASDAQ requires is that you report, each brokerage firm report the number of shares sold short on their books by customers or by themselves by the 15th of each month. 5 or is it 7 business days later, they release that information to the public. So you really never have fresh data. But what we're looking at is the trend of the short sellers. And the trend here is in MCOR that these guys look like they've got it wrong. You would have had to sell it short before September of 2006 to be in a winning position right now. And I can't imagine that there's many people that sold it back then that are still holding the stock today. EXEL is Exelixis, I guess. But look at this monthly time frame. Now the daily and the weekly don't look like they've got much potential to get going. But when you look at this longer term time frame, things could get interesting here. It seems like a slow stock though. That's my only whole reservation, I think, on this. Not XR, but EXEL. EXER is AR is another one you could look at though. Here we go, XL, 9.1 million shares, 840,000 shares, 10 average daily volume. That'd take about 11 days to cover. I believe this is a biotech company. So kind of a rule for me with biotechs, if I'm playing what I anticipate to be a short squeeze, is that you never know when there's some kind of FDA panel, unless you research it, of course, but I'm not interested in doing that. So you never know what's going to move the stock. There could come out of the blue that someone upgrades, downgrades, whatever. And I think they're just riskier in general, the biotech, small biotech stocks. Now, this might not even be a biotech. I kind of seem to remember that they were one. But that makes them susceptible to big gaps, higher and lower. So I think a better way to play them a lot of times is with options. Inland Steel, or In-Steel Industries. Look at the resistance the stock has had near the $20 level over the last 6 months or so. Now, last week we had a takeover in the steel group. That got the stock to break out. It's pulled back on light volume in here. Now, looking at a weekly time frame, it looks like a pretty significant area to be breaking out from. So when we look at that level, again, what we want to do is say, what would motivate the shorts to cover? Well, there's 4.3 million shares sold short. The average daily volume is only 228,000 shares. Based on that, it would be very difficult for them to cover that position. It would take them 19 days. Now, it looks like if I was short, I would be getting nervous in here and be thinking it's time to cover at least part of my position. It's probably got a strong bid under it because of the shorts trying to cover. And I think that this one could get going pretty good to the upside here soon. Again, I'm not giving out specific recommendations. ISIS, I mentioned this one, I think, in a video last week. But ISIS, here's another biotech stock. Okay, now this one had some big news over here. They gapped up back in November of last year. It gave up those gains, but really kind of held on overall fairly well, along with a rising 200-day moving average. The stock just got some more news, I guess, last week, and it's held up very, very well in here. Now, looking at the 10-minute time frame, I'm long a little bit of this stock right now. Actually, in fact, I've got some call options on it, some of the 12.5s that expire in August. But this stock, the short position, we'll take a look right here, ISIS. The short position in here is 11.5 million shares. So what I really like about it, though, is the freshness of the short position. From May 15th to June 15th, they added about 1.5 million shares. So price has memory because so basically from May to June, they added 1.5 million shares in here. Now those people are feeling pain. They're feeling pain quickly, and I think this stock can continue to probably go on and at least test these old highs. Who knows? They've got some kind of big news on some drug. Maybe you want to take a look into it. I'm not going to. Again, be aware of earnings dates. A lot of times you can anticipate big moves with options. And Marchex, MCHX, here's a stock that just has broken past some resistance, kind of struggling to hold on, pulled back to the rising 20-day moving average. And on the weekly time frame, you can see the significance of this level. And it seems to be holding up better on the weekly time frame. And you can see there might be a little bit of resistance up near that $17 level, but above 17 bucks a share, this stock could really get some upward momentum going in it. And when we look at the short position in Marchex, the shorts are 10.5 million shares. That would take them 15 days to cover. And same thing here. We've got a fairly recent position. So January, there were 5.5 million shares. And right now, we've got 10 million shares. So we know for a fact that 5 million of those shares are underwater, and that doesn't feel good for those short sellers. And hopefully, the stock can get moving up, maybe above 16 or so again. That puts the buyers back in control, and this stock could get squeezed nicely higher. Last one I'll leave you with, I've got other ones, but is Vistaprint, VPRT. It's been holding up in a tight range up here. I know that the company reported better than expected earnings back here. Now it's a nice tight consolidation. And on Vistaprint, the short position in here is 4.7 million shares. That would take them 12 days to cover if they were motivated to get out. And if up near all-time highs, this one could really get moving higher.